Hey, guys. Thank you for tuning in once more with me, your favorite host, Miss D. I have a pretty dope surprise for you guys. That's right. Go to the show notes or also go to my website, which you can find the link on my social media platforms. And we now have a code for you guys to try out. Click that link for your Audible Premium Plus free trial. That's right. You guys can click that link and log into it. Well, basically, you're going to set up your Audible Premium Plus free trial, right? It is a free trial for 30 days. And what you get from this is one credit for an Audible book. For some of y'all who are Amazon Prime members, you get 2 credits and you're able to listen to an audiobook of your choice. This is a 30-day free trial, which means you technically have 30 days to listen to your audiobook of your choice. And here's the kicker. You are also able to tune into podcasts now on Amazon. That's right. So you can listen to the show on there too. So go to my show notes or to my website. Again, you can find that in the show notes as well, or my social media platforms, and click the link to set up your Audible Premium Plus free trial courtesy of Double Dose of Raw Talk podcast. Now, let's get this show started. Welcome to Double Dose of Raw Talk podcast. I am your host, Miss D. On this weekly show, you will tune in to discussions of different topics about today's society, culture, and adulthood. Of course, there's always juicy conversation with a little bit of love and plenty of sex. And let's not forget the stories of all relationships and the mess with relationships. Join me every week along with my friends and guests to get your dose and keep it raw on everything and anything. And remember, no topic is off limits. Welcome back, everyone, to another week and another episode on Double Dose of Raw Talk podcast. I am your host, Misty, and I have here returning guests. What's that sound? Do you got your sound effects over there, or do I need to do it?
Oh no, you want a little, here we go. Let's
see.
back everybody.
It's Rick the Finisher.
Back again. Thank you for having me back on the show.
I knew he had the sound effects. So.
You know it.
Rick is not only a DJ, okay, so he just doesn't have these sound effects just lying around in the house. There's a reason why.
There's a reason why.
Yes, he's also a personal trainer, my personal trainer, life coach. What do you want to keep going? Because I know you got a lot.
Business owner.
Business
now.
Owner, just be better fitness.
Business owner, just be better fitness. So, Ltd. Hold on.
One more time.
I am working my way to doctor of physical therapy program. And so if everything pans out in a year, I will be Dr. Rick Jenkins. And I'm just happy to be here in America in spite of my skin color.
You want to say that one more time for the audience?
Yes, one more time. Louder for the people in the back. I'm happy to be here in America in spite of my skin color.
There you go. There you go. That's what we're dealing with, okay? This show is not by no means a political show, but we are going to exercise our right to freedom of speech, and we're going to discuss the shits that we've been seeing already in the first week and a half of 2021.
I feel like it's been the longest week ever.
Okay, can I just say that, okay, what's that saying? Let me see if I could read it. Someone had a saying, right? I've been telling my audience for quite some time. I think I told you, Rick, too. I've been struggling a tiny bit with my faith, but somebody reminded me of something today. Let's see if I can find it. Okay. Yup. You know that saying, if you want to make God laugh, just tell him what your plans are. Okay. Have you heard that before? Because I've heard it.
I've heard something like it.
Okay. So I had this whole vision of hope for 2021. I've been talking my shit on my episodes. I've been talking my shit to my friends. I've been talking my shit to people that I know, people that I love. You know, I still feel 2021 is our year. I still feel that way.
I agree.
Right.
There are a lot of I speak to people during my day job and I tell them, don't don't lose hope. There is light at the end of the tunnel. Even if the tunnel seems a little bit long, there is still light. We have a lot of moving pieces that are giving us some good indication.
Right.
And January 6th, 7th, and 8th happened. And it's like, well, guys, maybe we should rethink our strategy.
Right. Right. Yeah. I have no words for what has happened recently. So
Oh, I got words.
I know you got words. That's why we're doing this
I got
episode.
words. Laughing my ass off the whole day because at some point you just look and things are just surreal.
Right.
And so you either sit and curl up into a ball and go crazy, or you just laugh and you go, this is America. All right, next.
And of course, this is a safe space on my platform. I want to dive in, like any other episode, to a unique icebreaker. I've never done this before. This is my new thing. I'm trying to do some new stuff with my guests. And for this icebreaker, we're going to talk about 2020 real quick. So I picked a few topics and I send them to you, right? I'm going to start with, what was your favorite song? Or most hated?
Most hated song. So Big Sean dropped his new album in 2020. And I don't really like too many of nowadays rappers, but I do like Big Sean. I think he's quite lyrical. And I think I listened to his entire album maybe 40 times in a day.
Wow.
Okay. I was like, this is a good ass album. So I can't even pick one song off that. Actually, I could pick one song, but no, you know what? I'm not. Big Sean's album for 2020 was it.
It's the whole
Eminem's album too. Yeah. Like I was born. Yeah, I'm not exaggerating. Maybe about 40 times, like over and over. I haven't. The last time I listened to an album like that was Reasonable Doubt by Jay-Z.
Okay.
That was 96.
Oh, I got chills. Okay. I did listen to Big Sean's album. I also just love Big Sean. So of course I was going to listen to his album. I definitely do love it, but there's nothing I don't love about Big Sean. So there. Call me biased. I don't know.
What song did I hate?
Mine as well. Just hit us with it.
I thought Meg Thee Stallion had a decent year, but TikTok just drove that Savage into the ground. But Beyonce revived it.
Okay. That remix.
That remix gave it like a lot of credibility. And then Tory Lanez shot the pinky toe off. But that's not the point. The point is,
he's special.
First of all, yeah, he is special, and he's tiny. He's like Lego Captain America. I don't even know why they let a little kid have a gun.
Little kid have a gun. No, you did not.
He's kindergarten size. He needs a juice box and a snackable. He does
like the Lunchable,
like a Lunchable. Yeah.
You think he ever got that packed for lunch?
No, and that's why he was out here acting like he was 6 feet tall. That was his problem.
I can't. First of all, I married a short man. Let me just begin with that.
Right.
Then again, he also thought he was.
Yeah, he did. He thought he was like Captain America. He thought he was out here like.
And some of these guys are just very confident.
They are, but confidence does not teach height. See, I'm 6 feet tall, so I'm good.
Right.
I don't have problems. When I walk down the street with Jazz, she's like, okay, this is a man. This is a grown man right here.
Okay.
Tall.
Okay.
Strong. Not like if you have a man that's your size and you 5'2", that's your buddy. That's a doll. Like, you know how little girls take a doll to kindergarten for show and tell?
Yeah, that's your doll. But okay, so I have to be fair on this though, because
all right,
I'm gonna this is gonna be so bad to admit, but I'm gonna admit it. I grew up in I'm gonna put it out there. I grew up in a culture of soccer, right? Soccer players, soccer teams. I'm Ecuadorian, so majority of us, including the men, are very short. And ever so often, you do encounter some tall motherfuckers, and these tall motherfuckers think they hot shit with hot mouths, right? I've seen some short men put some tall ass mofos in their motherfucking place and fuck them up. You know what I'm saying? So I can't, you know what I mean? For me, like growing up that way, like I don't really know, nor have I seen short men be pussies. And what, can't even say his name, Tory did was real pussy shit. Just saying.
It was soft.
Real, yeah. But I do get what you're saying, because as a woman who has dated men of all heights, right? you do feel a little bit more, protected. You do feel a little
like a
more protected.
like a lot of bit more protected, knowing that you're with a giant as opposed to the giant sneaker. But I digress. Right, right.
I'm gonna
Like, come on,
stop.
Tiny Tim. Who you gonna guard?
I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna stop.
All right.
Listen, I'm gonna stop. I can't do this. I'm a short woman. I'm only 4'11". That's it. I'm gonna stop.
Shout out to all my short guys, but I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Well, that's because, in all fairness, you've always been tall.
I was not always tall.
Really?
I yeah, I was short and round, and I couldn't really catch my sisters or my cousins because they were quick. And then one day I was 6 feet tall and athletic, and I was like, "Oh, game on, bitches! Here we go." It was like Simba coming home, and all the hyenas
Wow.
scattered. Yep.
That's crazy. All right. Well, see, I just learned something new about Rick. I didn't know that. All right. My favorite song
Oh, no, come on, let's hear it.
is the WAP, yo. It's the WAP.
Oh my
It's
God.
the WAP, but I'm gonna tell you why it's really my favorite, right? Because
Right.
after a while, as much as the macaroni verse really hit me in the heart, what really made me love that song was just how much controversy it fucking stirred with
Right.
people in society having a problem with the word pussy being said, like on a song. And I'm just like, yo, it has been said before. Like it was just
Like plenty of
right,
times.
right. I think that's really why I loved that song, because it's just one word. It's just a word caused so much controversy. And so after a while it just became comical to me, to be honest. It was
And
very entertaining.
I think the first week it was like, all right, like I didn't care. After it became controversial to politicians, I was like, oh boy,
That's when, yeah.
this is too much. Like, these guys know they're doing dirt behind closed doors.
Mm-hmm.
Why are you making this a big deal? And what that reminded me of was when NWA dropped their album, and there was a whole can like politicians were lining up to destroy that record,
Because of
and
their,
then
yeah.
it culminated in the big buying of the CDs and burning them in the streets. And NWA was upset, but Easy E said it best. He said they could do what they want. These motherfuckers still paid for it.
Right.
The controversy is there, of course, and I think as it's going to bear on this conversation, free speech is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
But guess what? You downloaded it, you streamed it, you did something, you still paid for it. Politicians, in order for you to have knowledge of the song, you had to listen to it. You had to devote 4 minutes and some seconds to listen to the entire song so that you could critique it and talk about it and get up on a podium and say, oh, this is offensive. Well, you still listened to it for 4 minutes, you still invested time in it. So
And it pissed
right.
some of them off. Like
And that's fine.
it really did.
I think Cardi B, I liked her come up. A lot of people didn't when she was coming up. I liked her come up. I like how she, flipped her love in hip hop notoriety into this career.
True.
There was a streak of time at some point where Cardi B couldn't lose. She was doing hits with Bruno Mars. Where she crossed over was where she did that joint with Ozuna. And it was like, Cardi B right now cannot lose.
Right.
But as music aside, I still think she needs somebody to be like, Cardi, shut the fuck up. You can't say shit like this. You gotta calm down. You gotta pick your spots, because there's like a fine line between Cardi B and Donald Trump. And sometimes she's Cardi B, but she could tap dance over that line sometimes. But remember where you came from. This is who you are.
You just want a friendly reminder for her. You want to
That's
make
it.
sure. I
That's
I could see where
simple.
I could see where you coming with that, because it's true. She's done her thing. She continues to do her thing, but ever so often we do see that that's always a risk with these
Right.
celebrities. And potentially, I'm not saying it is going to happen with her, but because it is always a risk with any of them, it could potentially happen with her too. So, and let's be real, the switch up sometimes is just that real.
Right.
So,
And I'm glad she made it. I like
yeah.
when my people escape this part of reality, it makes my heart very happy. The higher you go, keep working like you broke. Keep working like you hungry. Don't forget, you this is where you came from, down here. You're gonna find more love than hate if as long as you're looking for it. But the moment you try to like switch your style up and act like you haven't been here before, it's all hate.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that makes sense. I feel what you're saying. I do.
Her next hit is gonna be dry ass pussy.
She might just, you know what? She might just do it though. She might just. And you know who's gonna buy that album?
White
Not
people.
white people.
Well, them too.
I was gonna say some hating ass men, but okay.
Well, them too.
I'm done. All right. Favorite movie or your most like disliked movie? Either one.
My favorite movie, surprisingly, was Extraction. It was a Netflix film with Chris, the guy who played Thor, Chris Hemsworth. I was watching it. I was on my way into the recovery phase from COVID. It was on, and somebody told me about it, and I watched it, and I could not take my eyes off this movie. I mean, it was the production was but it was unbelievable. Like Chris Hemsworth, he looked like Thor, but with no hammer. This dude was like stopping dudes from shooting him at close range. He must have killed like 75 people in this movie.
Okay. I've never watched it. I may have to. For me, the movie that I love the most was actually The Photograph with Issa Rae and
No,
Lakeith.
we didn't watch that one.
I loved it. I loved it
Yeah.
and I could watch it over and over again. I am a person who really loves when it comes to like books or movies or including now audio dramas. I'm podcasting. When you do the time travel, when you go back into time. And so this movie definitely has a lot of that. It's a love story, but it goes back into time. That movie definitely hit my soul with it. I totally fuck with it. I when it first came out, I loved it because I was so hyped about it coming out. And I did like it, but there was several things that really irked me a little bit. Bad Boys for Life.
Oh, I loved it.
I loved it.
I loved every minute of the movie. Jazz and I could not wait to see it. We saw. I think that was the last movie
You
that we
went to the
did. We
theater?
see that? I think we saw that one in the theaters.
Yeah, yeah. So
I love that movie.
I loved it, but there were certain things that did upset me.
Right.
First of all, did they have to kill the captain? I'm still not over that shit. Like that's one of the things that pissed me the fuck off. You know the bad woman, Kate del Castillo. She is very known in the Spanish celebrity world. She is in a lot of novelas.
Is she in like the Latin Illuminati?
Yes.
Okay, so
Yeah, so she's definitely part of that. She was actually, you know, just to give a little context to who I'm talking about, and you could definitely look her up, Kate del Castillo. She was involved with Sean Penn, and there was this whole big thing. So she was in this movie. She was like La Patrona, like the jefa, like the one that was running shit here with the whole storyline with Will Smith. And while I liked her in there, and I did because I do like her acting, I just think she overdid it just a little bit.
well, it's Michael Bay. Michael Bay overdoes like literally take every scene and just makes it unbelievably like spectacular. And I don't mean spectacular like fantastic. I mean just like I would say blame the director.
Okay, I'll blame the director. Okay, okay, I'll go that route. I will. Other than that, though, I do watch it every time it comes on. I still enjoy it. I do. But yeah, I did have my little gripe with it. All right. Next one of 2020. Breaking news. The top breaking news that hit you in 2020.
The death of Kobe Bryant. That one hit me right in the soul. Kobe Bryant has always been my favorite player. When I was playing at a high level, a lot of my game was modeled after his. A lot of the work ethic, the relentlessness, like just getting on the court, like just making sure just everything. We were cleaning that Sunday, and one of my best friends, he called me. He's like, "Yo, Rick, yo, I'm sorry, man." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "Kobe Bryant died," and I'm like, "Come on, man, stop playing." So we chopped it up for a little bit, and I hung up the phone, and then my friend Katrina called me, and she's like, "Rick, you okay?" And at that point, the news come in, and then it just hit me. I went, I sat in the other room for like an hour, like my day was shut down. You know, I feel like that moment was like the opening of like Pandora's box for 2020. Kobe died, and the whole year just went to hell.
It did feel that way.
That was a hard one.
Yeah, I have to agree. I think that was definitely the breaking news for me. For everybody, is different. And I think what was really breaking about that even more so was the fact that his daughter was with him. So I think that just took things to a whole other level. It was definitely that. And I think, that fucking line we always say, right? It can't get any worse than this.
Right. And right, it was just that was the doorway
Yeah.
opening to it getting
Yeah.
worse.
It really, honestly, it really was. And it's like, so not like his 1 year is approaching as we're talking about this. And
Right,
it's like,
right. And everybody in basketball, prior to that, they were like, "Who's going to be the next Kobe? Next Kobe." His daughter was the next Kobe. I mean, she was his prototype.
yeah.
She was the spinning image of her father.
Yeah.
He and his daughter, they were both just getting started. He had so many plans and so many things, like so many projects coming up, and it's like that was just taken away,
Mm
like from the world.
hmm. Mm hmm. No, it definitely was. R.I.P. Kobe. Tabloid gossip of 2020.
I don't know because I don't really like jump into like stuff like that.
All right, I got one for you. Harvey Weinstein sentenced to 23 years in prison.
Oh yeah, yeah. But that wasn't enough.
It wasn't, but it made me very happy to see that fucking tabloid celebrity news.
They should put him in a cell with R. Kelly and make that cell all dark and tell R. Kelly there's a 12-year-old girl in that
Might
cell.
as
Let him go.
well. I mean,
Well,
if we're going to be honest, your favorite or most disliked show of 2020? This could be Netflix. This could be any network. This could be an actual show.
actually, my like, will a Netflix
Of
series count as
course.
a show?
Of course.
Oh, Cobra Kai. Let's get it.
Oh my God. My dad is
Easy,
infatuated with this fucking show.
easy. But yeah, Cobra Kai is I blew through season 3, so does she, and we gotta wait almost 8 months for season 4. Like it,
Yeah, I think when it comes to shows, I'm just gonna give Netflix a whole shout out because with the pandemic itself, like they really brought back a lot of old school shows that was a fucking
right.
pleasure to revisit and rewatch and just binge, and they did their shit. Netflix really did their thing with bringing
The,
back a lot
the
of
other
shows.
show, the other show that on Disney Plus, The Mandalorian.
I've heard of it. I haven't watched it, but I've heard of it.
If you're a Star Wars fan, you just I mean, in every episode you just fall in love with. There isn't one bad episode in 2 seasons.
Okay, cool, 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 cool. Your favorite dance of 2020?
My favorite dance of 2020, 2021, 1921, 18 is still the puffy dance. When I walk in, I'm still I don't care about none of these damn TikTok dances. F these kids. My body's not built to move like that anymore.
Once again, shout out to the WAP, and I'm gonna tell you why. On TikTok, I saw some of the funniest videos with these people trying to do that leg lift
All
and
right, and then
landing,
pow,
and they got fucked up. That
land
was
bird.
the only entertainment for me when they was trying to do that the whole leg lift and pop. That shit was
Just
hilarious. It was just
tough landings.
tough landings. It was
A
hilarious.
lot of hospital bills.
A lot. That was hilarious to me. I loved it. It was entertaining. I needed a good laugh. All right. The last one, I made this on more of a broader topic. Well, broader, yeah, it's a topic. A moment in 2020 that I'll stand to you, whether it's a public or even personal moment.
My dad passing away.
Okay.
That was a tough one. But from that, I I I I fine-tuned my circle.
Mm.
I learned who is like just Rick, no matter what, no matter where,
Mm-hmm.
got you covered. I I learned something recently about my dad. My dad actually invented a gym apparatus. It's called something Flex, but he had it patented and everything. He got paid out for it in 1994, and
Really?
it's called the Spring Flex.
Shout out to Pops.
And he so me like starting a business this summer is right in line with not from the fitness aspect, but like you have a dream,
Yeah.
bring it to life.
Yeah.
And so that was but yeah, that was a tough one. I loved my dad very much, and he was definitely, I'm glad he's not in pain anymore,
Mm-hmm.
because when he was younger and not in pain, he was just like a monster, just all full of wisdom, pure ladies man, like very very charming, very smooth, um very driven, very very focused, a man of few words, but and he always made sure that I conducted myself like a man. So
Yes. Shout out to Pops, RIP Pops. I had the pleasure of meeting Pops.
that's right. You did meet my dad. So he was very like, "How you doing, young lady?"
Very
Like, very
charming.
like that.
Very charming. Like that. For me, the moment that outstands to me the most with 2020, and this may be a little bit of a selfish moment, I don't know, or maybe people might be able to resonate and not see it as selfish, but it's a very raw moment for me. Waiting for my negative COVID test when me and Marcus, my son, were in isolation from the rest of my family in this house. It was a huge moment to me. I did not go public, quote unquote, on my social media or with anybody until I got the results. Not because I was hiding it from anyone, whoever I was around that needed to know knew, but because everybody was just so nervous and scared because we had just lost our family members. It was the realest moment to get the call and be told that we were negative and to feel relief, to feel safe again. There was a lot of crying. There was a lot of tears. I just think that it's a very raw and real moment because I'm not going to lie. I'm a G, but I was scared as fuck. I'm not going to lie. I'm going to be real. 1000% real. I was scared. And I was busy trying not to show how scared I was because my kid and I were isolated. And he was like, "Ma, are we going to die?" All right. I wanted to just, go through the real quick 2020 wrap up. I didn't get to do it with anybody. And I kind of wanted to do it just to, just to go back a little bit in time. So this is the Reader's Digest that we're going to go into in the first week of 2021.
First week.
The first week. And it's not going to be like, we're going to make this as fun. It's not a fun fucking moment, but we're going to make it as fun as possible because we just have to sometimes laugh a little bit. That's what the fuck we have to do sometimes. So we're going to go into the segment of As Raw as It Gets, and it is titled Wake the F Up, Guys.
Wake up.
It references current events. The fact is that the topic itself is not a current event. It has been unfortunately very timeless because it's been around for quite some time. And I just think that one of the things as an ally, but even just as for any community, I think one of the worst things we could do is to stop talking about things that are important to us and just let things die down. I was watching report like a show, Dateline, and they were highlighting the families of Eric Garner, George Floyd, and Breonna Taylor. And one of the things that I believe it was Eric Garner's mom, she said that, it's like we're in the moment with the marches and Black Lives Matter, and then it's like it quiets down and it dies down. And so one of the things that they did say was like, we got to keep going. Like, you don't just let these things just calm down and die down. So I think one of the main things we can do as a commitment, as people who are outspoken and stand by these things, is to keep having the fucking conversation, keep reminding people of what's going on, and maybe opening up the eyes of some people.
Or at the very least, try.
Or try. Okay. Or try. Thank you, Rick. We'll try. So I want to kick it off with a huge congratulations. We ready for this, guys? To the state of Georgia. Rick, did you see what Georgia did?
So, Stacey Abrams, I saw a meme the other day, and it had Stacey Abrams' face, and it said, "If I bet was a person." And that's Stacey Abrams, who lost the governor's race, but is still the most powerful person in Georgia.
She definitely is.
And that is so. The irony is so crazy because not only is she a woman, she's a Black woman in racist Georgia, in a state where like oppression is just, it's not there, but it's kind of there. Stacey Abrams said, "You know what? We're going to handle this." And if any one human being is single-handedly responsible for that Senate flip, it is Stacey Abrams. Like the Thanos of politics. Yeah. She's just snapped. She said, "Black people, snap.
Yep.
And they mobilized. She did not play. Like she. I could picture Biden on the phone saying we want to offer you a cabinet position, and her saying, "Nah, if I take that, I'm gonna lose power. I'm
You know
I'm good
what?
in Georgia, but let's hold off on this conversation because we're gonna talk in the future."
Yeah, yeah. What she did was absolutely phenomenal. She's phenomenal. I definitely highlighted her during my episode with my friend Stephanie, where we talked about the importance in local, state politics and voting. And this is the prime example why it's so important.
Right.
A lot of people, especially in our own communities, right, have it because they're not fully educated or because, oh, do I have to go do this again? They just go to vote just for the president and they don't see the importance in voting local, state. They don't see it. And sometimes we do have to have that nitty gritty conversation with everybody. Like, this is why, because Georgia did not just show up, they showed out and they flipped
They
the
showed
fucking
out.
shit.
She's like the black female Captain America.
I love the fact.
We
In
we
case y'all
need we
don't
need to,
know, Rick loves
right.
Marvel.
I do. We listen. We need to stop playing. We need to. If Wakanda is real, find it, get her a shield, and just paint it the Georgia colors and give it to
Give it to
Stacey
her.
Abrams. Be like, you are the protector of Georgia, and I know she's just getting started. Like I know it. She's gonna win the governorship in 2 years. I guarantee. It.
Mark
Mark.
that prediction, guys.
Everybody who's listening, mark this prediction. Stacey Abrams is going to be the governor of Georgia in 2 years. I promise you.
I had to think fast when my kid loves social studies. My kid loves American history. He's very heavy in that topic and that subject this school year. And when he asked me, why was this so important with Georgia? Because he's been learning a little bit of it. And
Hmm.
I'm like, I'm not a teacher. I'm not a social studies teacher. I'm not an American history teacher. And I was like, let me think quick. How can I make him understand why this is so relevant? So I went to On Demand and I played the movie Ray.
Okay.
And the scene where he goes to play in Georgia and everybody is like rallying and protesting. They're like, please, Mr. Charles, don't do it. And he's like, nah, get everybody on the bus. And they banned
Right.
him. They banned Ray from singing in Georgia. And it wasn't until many years later that he was given the open door to come back. And I was able to reference him back to that movie, which, by the way, I love Jamie Foxx and I love that movie. It's an amazing fucking movie.
That's right.
This is what it was, what it's been in many ways. And they did that. They did that. And I want to also just congratulate and highlight who is they in this instance. There is an article, okay?
Right.
And the number one lesson we had to learn, number one, black voters did that. Their words are black voters did it for the Democrats, but I'm just going to say black voters did that in Georgia.
Correct.
Okay? Let's just make that very clear of who made that difference in Georgia. They have now, they won the Senate, right? And they won the two races with a diverse coalition representing the party, a liberal Jewish former intern to the late Reb John Lewis and a black pastor of Ebenezer Baptist Church. That's
Right.
what Georgia did. So
And this is scary for the establishment
yes.
because it represents a complete like shift in power.
Oh yeah.
In a country that has done everything it can to just like oppress
Mm-hmm.
black people who still manage to thrive.
Mm-hmm.
This is them saying, no, we are in control of the vote now.
Right.
You tried to take the power of the vote from us, and now you can't. Now it's official that you can't. And let me just say for the record, and this is a surprise. At one point, and I still am mostly, but at one point I was a registered Republican.
Okay.
Historically, and some people might be learning something right now. Historically, I cannot be a Democrat because the Democratic Party was the party of slavery.
Say it. Speak it.
And
It's history.
and somewhere along the lines it shifted, but originally the Democratic Party was the party of slavery. And also at some point the Republican Party was very pro the people. You make money, you keep it. Small government, your privacy is yours, your life is yours. But then something shifted. But I've always been a person who wanted to make sure that I align with leadership.
Right.
And leadership is very important. And so if the leadership is rallying the right cause, then that's who gets my vote.
Mm-hmm.
And right now, the current Democratic Party is rallying for the right causes. And so the people in Georgia, specifically Black people, did the right thing by shifting that power, because there are a lot of spineless cowards in the Republican Party right now that if I were in any position of power, I would drag them out the sheet into the street, and then that would be that, because a lot of things they've done are in a line with what is considered treason. You know, you may not have like deliberately done anything, but you contributed to it by doing nothing.
Right.
And that's treat that you're as equally responsible as the people who are doing.
And I think what's important to highlight is, you know, again, this is not a political show and this is not strictly into the current event. It is referencing it because at the end of the day, today is this administration. Tomorrow is going to be another administration. And then
Right.
there's going to be another administration. And then our next generations are to come. And so we need to make sure, like, our fucking kids and our youth and the rest of us and everyone else is becoming very aware or opening up their eyes to the reality of what the fuck is going on. Because yeah, there's a current event which we are going to highlight. We're going to talk about it, but there's a bigger fucking picture here, and it's about the treason. There's changes need to fucking happen, is what the fuck we're saying. This, you cannot tell me this is where we're going to end up. Like, we can't. It's just impossible. I'm not saying everyone has to change their mind, but thank you for the raw talk, Rick. One's a registered Republican, and now he votes different. That's all I'm saying.
And I and everybody else don't vote vote America. Vote what is best for America. Because if your party is not doing the right thing for America, then vote outside the party and vote America. Vote what's going to be in the best interest for the generations coming up behind us. Don't leave them a mess. Like, don't let us do things and look at them like, they're going to take care of it. No, don't leave the burden on them. Okay, America has to be first. Even though this country doesn't love me the way I love it, I still love my country. The people that are nearest and dearest to me live in this country. And so I'm going to do my part to make sure I put the country first over party, because if my party's not doing the right thing, then guess what? My country still gotta pick up the slack and make sure that things are being done correctly.
I hear that. Wow, Rick. Thank you for that. Because I actually have been having a hard time looking at it that way. And I'm born in this fucking country too. Shit.
Right.
Okay. Thank you for that. I'll keep that in mind. If I'm gonna be honest, I'll keep that in mind with a word. The next topic. What happened on January 6th at the Capitol? Before we continue, I have to do this. I have to do this. Ready? The first thing I have to do. Do you know how to spell capital? The capital of Wednesday.
Yes. You ready? CAPITOL. Because if you spell it with an A, then you talk about a big letter versus a little letter. Capitol, not capital.
Oh my God. Okay, can I just say, I told you I was gonna laugh a little because at this point, if we don't laugh, we're gonna sink into all other emotions. The way that I was laughing at some of the memes I saw.
So, some of y'all do not need to make commentary by spelling capital. Some of y'all don't even capitalize your letters at the beginning of sentences.
None whatsoever.
None.
Oh my God. Okay. It was entertaining. I mean, we were in the shits with our emotions and whatnot, but it was entertaining. Okay. January 6th, there is something that occurred in this country. There is another article I found, and it was actually very interesting. I'm going to link the articles in my show notes for everybody to be able to go and reference them. And this one is actually, it was called 15 Educators from Across the U.S., right? Help students make sense of the chaos. And in one of those featured teachers, it was, you'll see her name in the article. It's Christine Montero, 11th grade U.S. history teacher from the Bronx. Okay. We're from the Bronx, New York City.
I used to be an educator from the
And you
Bronx,
used to
and
be an educator.
I taught U.S. history.
That's right. Now you see why I had to have this conversation with Rick, guys. Okay, this U.S. history teacher said with some of her students the next day after this happened, right? She was up all night. She said trying to figure out which anchor text to use to teach her 3 classes about the day's nightmarish, surreal events, right? And she says, shout out to this teacher. As a white person and teacher, I always have a lot of concerns about me not hurting them more. She said, I tried to get a read on where they're at because I won't pretend to know what their experience of this is. The teenagers said they were angry and frustrated. One said they felt hopeless, she said. All of them asked what would have happened if this had been Black people. I wanted to highlight that piece, right? Because education is key, right? And that is the entire purpose and premise of this particular episode. Like you said, we'll try to get through to some people. And I'm not expecting because of 2 articles that I may attach to the show notes. And I'm not expecting because of who my guest is or who the fuck I am, right? Who are we to any one of my listeners who may possibly be registered Republican, who may have voted in their choice that they voted, right? Who am I to change anybody's mind? But I do think the conversation is needed to have. And I appreciate that teacher for being so transparent and raw in what she said in that article. I appreciate you being so transparent on what your voting choices have been and where we are today. But I do want to highlight what are the top 3 things that happened that stood out to you from what happened, which is, I'm calling it Wednesday's insurrection. Okay. Although it was
That is
actually accurate, although it is actually, in my
accurate.
opinion, a full-blown domestic terrorist attack. That is what it is, in my opinion.
That is also accurate.
Okay, thank you. I am going to call the people that showed up. I gave them a nickname. I'm going to call them the T-sus. It's hyphenated.
The T-sus.
T-sus.
Okay, T-sus.
T-sus. What are your thoughts of what happened? Give me 3. Top 3. Shoot.
So the last time a mass of people stormed the Capitol with an O and occupied it was in 1812, and that was the War of 1812 when the British stormed Washington and they stormed the Capitol and they burned it to the ground.
Mm-hmm.
That was a war. We were at war with another country.
Mm-hmm.
So here we are in 2021, January 6th, and a mass of people storm the Capitol who are domestic, who are committing an act of terrorism and an act of insurrection because that is what was happening on Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
But the third thing that was happening was was a group of people who could not live with a result because they've never been taught how to lose, because their leader does not know how to lose, because he doesn't know how to compete. That was them throwing a temper tantrum.
Okay.
Think about the language that was used prior to the events on January 6th. I don't agree with the results of the election. I don't believe in the result of the election. You're allowed to not believe or not disagree or not agree with anything you want.
Right.
But numbers don't lie. And so if I were talking to kids and they say, well, what happened on January 6th? Like, well, son, well, daughter, or well, child. You ever have those kids that when they lose a game, they sort of like look at the scoreboard and they can't believe that they lost because prior to the game, they was telling everybody, oh, we're going to win, we're going to win, we're going to win. And they lost. And then they sort of throw everything around the gym. That's what happened. They threw a big ass temper tantrum.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, I find that hilarious because when you win or when you say you're going to win all the time and you lose, so in life, in our society, there are 5 really big stages that you can lose on.
Okay, hit us with it.
World Series, football at the Super Bowl, the Olympics, the presidency, and the NBA Finals. So This guy lost on number 4 of the 5 biggest stages that you can lose on. He lost publicly and he lost profoundly. He got his whole ass whooped and he was supposed to win. And what's worse, everybody who followed him says he's going to win, he's going to win, he's going to win. How do you know? We just know it. And the scoreboard, when the dust cleared, did not lie. And this is the other worst part. It was counted and recounted again. He went through the court. I'm going to go to the courts. He went to the courts and he lost at every level in the court system, even the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court didn't even give his case the time of day. They said, no, we're not even seeing this. They literally said, nah, son, and dismissed that. And he kept losing. And everybody believed that he won. And they used that same language. I don't agree with the results. I believe that we won. You can disagree or agree with whatever you want. And you're free to believe whatever you want. But the numbers don't lie. You lost. But if that had been people of a different shade of skin, if we would have thrown a temper tantrum in Washington, if we would have been in Washington, there would be dead bodies everywhere.
I couldn't agree more. Everybody's saying that. Everybody's being realistic.
And
Everybody's being
and
honest.
that's right. And it's really that what it is. And in this country, you can and so in this conversation, you also have to like talk about this white privilege thing.
It exists and it's real.
Because white privilege is being able to storm the Capitol, be escorted out the Capitol, and be interviewed about your experience storming the Capitol without any consequences. And we saw that January 6th, 7th, and 8th.
Not only without consequences. Let me take you back a few steps, because can a news reporter actually hold someone under arrest until cops approach?
No.
No. Right.
They're not officers of the law.
Right. So a quick, very casual, professional reporting, interviewing, skillful shout out to some of these reporters for saying, what's your name and where you're from? And these fools gave their name and where they're from.
Oh, they were dry snitching everywhere.
They were dry snitching. So shout out to the reporters on that, because it was like, oh, where are you from? What's your name? Okay, let me start there. But the fact that they were even able, like, to your point on what you said, you gave us a play-by-play of what happened. They made it out of that building to even give a word of who they were and where they were from to a single news reporter. Because in other instances, when the person who you would think could possibly walk out is of a different skin color, doesn't. And a news reporter is not able to get their account of what happened.
If that would have been Tyrell, Shanakwa, or Pepito, it would have been a different story. It would have been a different news report.
It would have been a different story. That's the fucking reality of what the fuck happened that day. And there was some comedy to this. One of the things that was very comical to me was one of them. I'm not even going to say his name or where he's from. He was from Jersey, but I'm not going to say his name. He was scared of what was going on in there, of what he saw in there. And all I wanted to tell this guy was, my man, you made it out of there. Like,
you made it out. You made it alive. Go home to Jersey.
You don't have a scratch on you.
Right. Like, I was scared.
Like, oh my God, it's terrible. What's happening? Oh, were you scared? But you went in there. You went in there by yourself and nothing happened to you. You weren't beaten. You weren't pushed to the ground. You weren't arrested. You weren't apprehended. You weren't stomped on. Nothing. There was no knee on your neck. Nothing. There was none of that. So that was a little bit of a comical moment for me. Just a tad, that he was so scared and he was able to give his account of how scared he was.
My comedic moment was the chick from Knoxville or Nashville or wherever she was. She got pepper sprayed and she's being interviewed. And she's like, yeah, we're here to storm the castle or the storm the Capitol with an O. And she's talking about how she stepped a foot in and she got pepper sprayed. And I'm like, baby girl, if that's the worst thing that happened to you, and
Absolutely.
you're alive to tell about it,
yeah,
I think you need to prioritize.
Absolutely. I want to highlight one more thing. And this is by no means meant to trigger anyone, nor to discredit anyone's emotions who may feel like,
Can I interject real
of
quick?
course, go ahead.
Don't apologize for triggering people.
I always
It
think it's
it
just a
no,
common
it, it
courtesy.
I yes, 100%, and I think that's absolutely professional of you.
Uh-huh.
But trigger people, because when you trigger people, it will cause them to have the ugly conversation, which is going to lead to solutions.
Okay. Okay.
Trigger them,
Okay.
trigger them. Fuck it. If you so everybody, if you're listening, if you're triggered, then pull your pants up, pull your belt tighter, buckle up, squeeze your cheeks, and let's go because we on this
Okay.
ride.
9/11 is something that I lived. You lived it. Okay. We
Yeah,
all lived it
absolutely.
in the city of New York. There are certain emotions that came with that. I remember to this day exactly how scared for life, for the entire city, for the entire humanity, for the entire country I felt that day because we were under attack. That was the exact same feeling I got on January 6th.
As it bears on this conversation, the last time they evacuated the Capitol, evacuated the senators and the representatives was 9/11, when we were under terrorist attack.
And I don't, not even the pandemic, not even that type of a fear can describe the level of anxiety that I felt this last first Wednesday of the year of wondering who the fuck is that entering that? But oh my God, are there planes gonna crash again? Are there bombs gonna go off? Like, what the fuck is going on? And listen, I get it. What happened in 9/11 was disturbing, disgusting. It was hurtful. It was atrocious. Again, I have close family members who were down there and who lived this and survived this, essentially. And it's triggering to people to still discuss it. But the truth is, that was for me personally the same fear I felt. That was the same anxiety I felt. The unknown of what the fuck is coming next. And the fact that we have how many days until the inauguration and nothing sits well for me of the last few tweets that T Poop, that's his new nickname, T Poop, okay, put out there when he said he won't be there to the inauguration. I didn't take that as him saying, "Y'all peeps, I won't be there. All right, catch me another day." I feel like there was an underlying message.
I won't be there because something's gonna go down.
That's how I took it, and it's that fear, it's that anxiety that sets in. And I don't know, maybe it's me, maybe no one else feels that way, right? It's a possibility. Maybe I'm being dramatic, I don't know, but I know what I felt and I know what fear is. When
Well, I know for a fact that the military is being mobilized in DC
Okay.
at a high level, and I was speaking with my sister earlier, and she's 100% sure that it's in response to the inauguration coming up. And so I'm with you because 9/11 was surreal, and the surreal feeling was is something more coming, and so I get it, but I think we learned some lessons from that, and we're going to apply them like moving forward. I gotta hope for the best of in America.
If you had to tell anybody to open up their eyes, what one thing would you tell them to open up their eyes to from what we just saw on Wednesday?
That T Poop is smarter than people think, and he's smart to the extent that he didn't say go and do. He suggested that if you feel something is wrong, then you should go and do. And it's brilliant. It's tactically brilliant because it absolves him of any spurring on, or so he thinks. The fact that it got to this level, I think it's a moot point. Like you this is what you did. You incited this insurrection. But prior to it getting to this level, and that's what he did like for 4 years. He didn't really make anything into law. He just suggested it and people acted on it. And that's brilliant. Remember, this guy is all about reality TV and shaping reality, and reality being perception. And if from perception it looks like he's giving out these orders and people are marching with them, then he doesn't lose. There's no such thing as bad publicity. And I think people really need to open their eyes to that. And I said it for 4 years. When it started getting bad, it's like, listen, when this man says something or does something, believe him. Don't say, nah, we're trying to rationalize ourselves in what we see because we're saying I wouldn't be that indecent, so I expect that in other people. No, that is the worst thing you can do. When he says something, believe it. When he does something, believe it. That's who he is. 100%. People who know how to compete, they know how to win and they know how to lose. They win graciously, they lose graciously. But cheaters look for cheating in everything. Open your eyes to that. That's who he is. Here's something to open your eyes to. Regardless of what party you vote for, the government is only interested in power.
Fact.
Period.
Fact. Fact.
And their connection to the people is, with the exception of a few, the majority, their connection to the people is only to the extent at how much power it will bring them. And the last thing you need to open your eyes to is that people, they watched what happened on January 6th and they say, I can't believe that these people did it. I could. This is 2021 America, and there are still people on the planet that only believe that the only type of Spanish people on the planet are Mexican. In 2021, where we can FaceTime people from our phones to people across the planet and have long conversations with them. They
Right.
still believe that the only type of Spanish is Mexican.
Can I just tell you something? My hair is short now because I cut it short. And is Jazz still there? Because I think Jazz can
She
this
is.
could resonate with her too. Because I had long black hair, I was always told to go back to my country, to Mexico. Growing up,
Right.
it's something that I've always heard. It's something that when I got the cops called on me 3 times because my son had blonde hair, and there was certain type of women in Central Park, and they saw me carrying my kid trying to get out of the park, and he was being your typical 1.5-year-old who did not want to leave. They called the cops because they thought I was kidnapping the kid because I looked Spanish and he looked so white. It was in certain instances that I realized that at the end of the day, I'm always going to be looked at different no matter how light skinned I am, or how for some people I may be passing as white because I am light skinned. At the end of the day, when you stand me in a room with them, I am not going to be nothing else but, in their eyes, a Mexican looking woman because my hair is dark, and at one point it was so long, and like, the comments are real. And so the history here in this country goes just way too far back.
That's right. It
Way
is
too far back.
we were talking earlier about, like, if anybody's interested, if they really want to get a real depiction of what that experience is, and it's not just for black people. It's, black, anybody who is not, I hate to use the word minority because we're not the minority anymore
I
in
hear you.
America.
I hear
we,
you.
we we're the majority. But if you really want to, like, have a hard read and really get an understanding, The Making of a Slave by Willie Lynch
Mm-hmm.
will it is written by a slave owner named Willie Lynch, who created a plan as to how to subjugate black people to slavery for the next 300 years.
Mm-hmm.
And it is one of the cornerstones of Jim Crow. And if you really want to get an idea as to how these things, this was written back in the 1800s, how it affects nowadays, read the book. You're going to see a lot of what he
You're
talks
gonna
about
understand.
in today's society. Okay, not only does it shape how Black and Spanish people view and treat each other, but it shapes how people who are not Black and Spanish view us.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you're in the park and your baby is blonde haired and people are calling cops because they think that you're kidnapping, that result is a result of that conditioning.
Right.
Or when they see your hair, when they see Jazz's hair, and they're like, go back to your country, Mexico. And you're like, idiot, what's wrong with you?
I'm born
Like,
here.
we're right. I'm American. I'm from America.
Yeah.
This is my country, and that's where it comes from. It's that conditioning.
Yeah.
But open your eyes to that, because that is not a surprise. That is not like, how could these people be like this. That unfortunately, that's how conditioning works.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for that. I'll link the name of the book and I'll link it
Okay.
from should it be on Amazon? It would be on Amazon.
Oh, it's on
Okay.
Amazon,
I'll link it.
books.
I'll
Yeah,
link it. And in case you guys did not listen in the beginning, I'm not sure if it's an audiobook, but this show does have a
it
link. It is an audiobook. So this show
it is
does
not.
have a link to Audible Premium Plus, and you could download that for a free trial membership and get the audiobook of this book that Rick is recommending. And if you're a Prime, Amazon Prime member, you can actually get 2 credits if you're not signed up yet for Audible Premium Plus. Just a shameless plug in there since we have a link for you guys.
No, and just for the record, there's absolutely nothing wrong with being Mexican.
Oh, absolutely not.
Mexico is awesome, by the way.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they've got great weather. It's like it's the idea, like the word is just being used.
Because
Go back to Mexican. Mexico,
right.
Mexican is like, well, go back to. I'm sorry, where are you from? Roger that.
Right, exactly. Well, let's go back to what it is. T Poop did that. T Poop was like, build the wall. Let's keep Mexico out. You know what I mean? T Poop did exactly that. And yes, this is no shade to Mexicans. Shout out to my godmother and one of my favorite cousins who is married to a Mexican man with a beautiful Mexican family and my 3 babies. I love them to death. I know my cousin listens. Shout out to them. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. It is actually the unfortunate and small-minded reference that all they do know is Mexico. And so
That's
everybody
right.
just got to be Mexican.
And the fact that it's used like as an insult.
As an insult, right? Exactly. That is the part that is very hurtful, to be quite honest, because I don't see nobody having an issue when they want to go have enchiladas and tacos and all the other good stuff, right? I don't see nobody having a problem. What's the other one? Elote. I don't see nobody having a problem with that, but we just got a problem with everything else, and we want to build a whole ass wall.
But and they love Cinco de Mayo,
Everybody loves Cinco de Mayo.
and they love coming to Cancun. But
Oh, now Tulum. I might be going to Tulum, Mexico. Tulum. I think I'm saying it right. All right. So cool. This was just a quick, in light of, Rick's credentials of being an educator in this city, in this country, amongst many other things. I needed this to be a moment of education for some people. And I needed them to understand. Maybe we didn't change minds, but I needed a little bit of an understanding there. So I'll be linking the articles and I'll be linking that book in case anybody's interested. You might as well go read it. Why not? We got time. One more comedy relief. The irony of wanting to build this wall, and there were people climbing a wall to get into that capital with an O. That was
it was like the white people version of Super Mario Brothers.
Oh my God,
crazy.
That meme was so hilarious. They have me dying.
Yeah, and it's funny because there were ledges on the wall. They took the barricades and made like a makeshift ladder. All they had to do was go around the corner and climb the stairs.
Yeah.
They didn't have to climb the wall. All you had to do was walk 10 feet to your left and you could have walked up the stairs.
Listen.
But you had to do it the hard way. And usually temper tantrums are very hard. Like you doing the most in that moment just to draw attention. And I was watching a video earlier today and they were, escorting people out of the Capitol.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very happy to say that I saw one Black person in 45 white people, and that made my heart very happy. I didn't see any Spanish people really, so we definitely steered clear of that.
1 in 45. That's his.
That's a good stat. He must have just been there for the stimulus check, and
I could totally see one of our people going up in there to do that for the stimulus.
They was just trying to get us some more money. They did like a computer course, and they said, "Let me try my hand at this. See if I can hook it up. See if I can make a difference."
Let's see. We're going to go into the second segment, Double or Nothing. And like everything we've been doing so far, we just been, wrapping it up, going real quick through it. It's an educated moment, right? We're going to title Double or Nothing. This is usually where we keep it raw on another dose. And I'm titling this, Let's Nip This in the Butt.
Got it.
Keeping it raw, right?
Yep.
You can't just grab people, accuse them of stealing your shit. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Oh, I know.
Okay. I believe the words were enough, Gail. Okay.
If that would have been me or anybody like me, male or female, talking to our mama like
Yo,
that, we'd be DEAD.
yo.
Period.
Ye-
And that's all I have to say about that.
Okay. Rick, you know my mom. You've met my mom. You've seen Chato's hands. Yo, she used to hit us with the backhand. My lip would have popped. So, and you seen her lips? They would have popped and been bleeding up a
My mom
storm.
would have shot me, I think. And I'm not exaggerating. She would have went to her closet. She would have got her shotgun, her bolt action, and she'd have been like, son, how you want it? Open a closed casket. Clackety clack. It would have been game over. We would not be having this conversation. Enough, mom.
Enough.
Blah.
Ooh. No. It was okay. So if in case you've been living under a rock and you don't know what I'm talking about a recent incident that happened in New York City at the Arlo Hotel where a woman who she claims she's a 22-year-old girl, fly a kite, ma'am. You are not a girl. You're a whole ass woman.
That's
And
right.
I'm not going to say her name because I just don't feel I want to give her that much validation, my opinion. She assaulted.
I was just about to say forget about the accused part because that's just words.
Valid.
She assaulted
She
a
assaulted
boy.
a boy.
She put hands on a boy.
A 14-year-old black boy. Okay. His name is Keon Harold Jr. because his father, thank God, was with him. Keon Harold Sr., who happens to be a Grammy Award winning musician. Okay. His mom, her name is Kat Rodriguez, saxophonist. You know, and I want to put that out there because I think it's important to highlight that, and I saw this in one of the news talk shows that they have,
Mm-hmm.
and they said, "Thank God his parents are known because had they not
Right.
been, this would have been under the rug, or God knows what would have happened to this kid."
Exactly right.
Right? Thank God that his parents have voices, strong voices, are vocal, and I'm gonna say it, know people. Okay,
Right.
because if not, it probably would have just been God knows what.
It would right. It'd have been just another case.
Right. Exactly. I want to be transparent about something. Okay. There's no other way for me to put this. You being a father and you have your 14-year-old son with you and that shit happens. How much credit do you give this man, Kenyon Harold Sr., for keeping his composure the way he did and still attempting to defend his son?
I boost his credit score to like 900
Okay.
because if that would have been me, she would have caught hands across America.
Okay. I want to be fair on that. Let's just be very straightforward on it.
Right.
He has given respect to a whole other face and level.
That's right. Respect. He showed a level of restraint that I wouldn't have. You put your hands on my child, then I'm putting hands on you.
Right.
Period.
Right. Absolutely. I think that if January 6th was not enough, that should have been enough. The incident at the Arlo Hotel. This woman went on later on to say she identifies as Latinx community, as if that was supposed to be her excuse and her passing for her to say, I'm not a racist or I didn't racially profile. When the bottom line is, unfortunately, but very fortunate for us to be aware of, the word racism is not just limited to just one skin tone. It actually exists amongst our own community. And it's nothing to be ashamed of. It's something to be aware of. His mother, Kat Rodriguez, actually shared an article about, anti-Blackness amongst the Latino community too. And so for this woman to feel like that is her way out, that is her ticket on a free ride, no ma'am, it's not. It's not going to get you out, because even if we choose to remove out of the equation the fact that you are Latinx but totally behaved because you know that you can and you know that you are privileged.
If anything, we need to hold you to a higher level of what the fuck are you doing? Stay in your place. Since you're Latinx and you have that, you say that you have that upbringing, then what I'm thinking is your mom may put hands on you when you started acting a fool too. So as soon as you started acting a fool, but the expectation was now I'm just gonna do what I'm gonna do and have no consequences. No, if that's your experience, then you had that too. So I know she lying. She ain't no Latinx.
You and I both know that even if she was, her mama ain't hit her. I'm gonna tell you why. Because she would never dare to sit there with her hand up talking about enough, Gail. She would have never dared to do that shit. Because if she grew up with her mama busting her lip open, she would not be a 22-year-old woman talking to Gail like that.
That's
Period.
right.
Or to any reporter. She would not be
Gail
doing
is
that.
Gail's professional because Gail's probably like,
Oh my God.
I'm gonna see you after this recording. You lucky
Honestly.
I'm on the outside of this TV.
Honestly, she was atrocious with her behavior. With what her behavior was, it's two pieces that we've one being that we talked about. It's about the privilege. Is her privilege to know that some way, somehow she's gotten away with being able to be an aggressor, be the bad guy, get her way, do what she wants, as she pleases, when she pleases. Time and place mean nothing to her. Who's around means nothing to her. Respect means nothing to her because it's her world. That is all my observation from what her behavior was in that hotel footage, from the father's phone, and from her interview with Gail. It's apparently reports say that she resisted being arrested in California. I saw your eyebrow go
So,
up just now.
right, oh yeah. So now she's trying to play the oppressor and the victim.
Exactly. And I think if I could find any comedy in this is once again the fact that she resisted, like many others, which is able to walk into a Capitol with an O, and nothing fucking happened to her. Nothing happened to her. And I'm not saying I'm encouraging any type of brutality. That's not what the fuck I'm saying. I'm just saying, let's just state the fucking obvious of what would have happened if it was someone else of some other color. Let's just state the fucking obvious. And so the privilege with her was just too disgusting for me. I do think Arlo Hotel should be held accountable because I don't like how they behaved in that footage from the dad that he had. They were coming at the father like, well, hold on, let's talk to you. There's nothing you have to talk to him about. You guys didn't see him. She didn't see him. She was just being a fucking brat, catching a temper tantrum like the other people that tease us. And she just felt that she was privileged enough to get her way, however which way she wanted it. And she didn't give a fuck who she was violating. To this young boy, I don't know if he'll ever hear this, but I keep him in prayers now because he was fucking tackled. He was assaulted. This woman threw herself on him and brought him down to the ground like he was a fucking nobody. And I'm going to take it just a tad bit to another fucking level. To any woman who feels, and I swear I'm a G, and sometimes I'll be like, I could smack him. Like, he's such a fucking asshole, right? Anybody in my personal life who just pissed me off, I will say that. But the truth is, as a woman, you don't just go around putting your fucking hands or being an aggressor towards men. You don't just fucking do that. Like, what kind of fucking upbringing did you have that you thought you can face off with a grown-ass man and his son? Like, that really puts me in a different headspace of who this woman thinks she is or what she can do. Period. Like, my mom would have slapped me just for that, for thinking that I could face off with a man. I'm sorry. Like, she would have been like, calm the fuck down. Who the fuck do you think you are?
Right.
Like, act like a fucking lady. Because you don't just go
Right.
attacking men. You don't just do that. Like, you don't just think that you can, but clearly she thinks she can.
That's right.
That's my whole point in this. And she doesn't give a fuck. Like, this kid is 14. She's disgusting. She's completely disgusting, and I hope wherever her mama is, her mom looks at herself in her fucking mirror and realizes what the fuck she did. Respectfully.
Well, her mom did her best.
You think so?
And I mean, at some point you got to be responsible for your own actions.
You do. You're right. I won't put it on her mama. I'll take it back.
But I know my mom would have shot me.
Do you think
you ain't gonna have me looking out here crazy, son? Clap.
Well, because you're a reflection of her. That's what I always say to my kids too. Like, dude, you're a reflection of me. But don't get it twisted. He knows I will fuck him up if I need to put him in his fucking place. So he knows how to act. I'm just saying, like, do you think at some point it's a matter of not just privilege, but sometimes audacity on these people?
I would lean more to the audacity,
Mm.
which is spurned from privilege. I know that if I'm of a certain shade in America, the cops are going to respond to me differently than if I were of a darker shade.
Mm. Mm.
So based on that, I get to step forward because I know that the cops are going to treat me different because more often than not, the cops look just like me.
Okay.
And so they're going to treat me different because they look just like me.
Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. All right. That was my highlight on cell phones and Arlos. And enough. Gail. I have no
And
other
I and
words.
I hope this chick gets crabs.
You know what? She definitely got charged. They read her charges.
Good.
Um.
And I hope while she's in jail, she gets crabs.
Okay. Those hurt?
And that's all. I don't know. I've never had
Me
crabs, but
neither.
I
I'm
hope
just.
I hope she gets them like exponentially.
Oh my god. Can you catch
And
that
at
in
her,
jail?
and,
Like,
and
don't they have?
I don't know, but I hope when she gets crabs, her biceps cramp up so she can't reach down and scratch.
I can't. He said the biceps. You already know he's a personal trainer. All right, we're gonna go into the last segment. We've been giving y'all some education here. The overdose. This is usually when we go on a raw rant on something that may have pissed us off, or sometimes we talk about something that gives us a great vibe. So before I give off with mine, do you have one that you'd like to share by any chance?
Well, I said this year that I was not going to rant about stuff. I'm not going to give energy to things that
Okay,
bother me. But I do have one thing.
go for it.
Has nothing to do with politics or anything like that. People, I understand that wearing that mask is a tough one.
Mm.
But when you're in the goddamn gym, put your mask on and keep gyms open.
Amen.
Okay, we're staying open. It's all good.
Mm-hmm.
We're at the bottom of the list in terms of risk of spread. We're at 0.06 for risk of spreading any infection or anything like that. But people are still walking in. This mask bothers me. You're not special. You breathe oxygen just like everybody else. Put your mask on. Keep it on. Keep the gym safe. If the gym's closed down, you have a job to go to. But the people that work in gyms, they don't have jobs to go to.
Say that. Mm.
And re-rack your goddamn weights. Your workouts are not that special. If you're not training with me or any other tier 1 trainer, all you're doing is picking things up and putting things down. Put your weights back. Keep the gym clean.
Okay.
That's it.
With a
That's
word.
all. That's all I got to say
It's
about that.
important. It's relevant. Okay. I'm going to nip one quick thing in this overdose. Okay. And it's probably going to be the last time I'm going to speak on it because I did speak on it sometime in 2020. And I almost took it all the way back. Divorce can kill you. Dr. Dre ended up in ICU. And he's in the middle of this fucking divorce battle. I did highlight because I don't agree with her Nicole Young's request for it was a 2 million or some shit. I think it was just too much. I've never known email service or Wi-Fi service that could cost more than $2,000. Sorry, I just don't. So I'm not too crazy about what her demands and requests are. But the bottom line is divorce can kill you. But I am more so towards the fact that stress can kill you, and relevant to healthy living, healthy lifestyle, because Rick is not just my personal trainer. Rick has been my friend and family, and he is a life coach. And this is something that he is very huge on when it comes to stress and why we go to the gym and why we make it to the gym. It's not just to healthy living and trying to, for me, lose weight again. Well, I shouldn't say again. I mean, it's not too many pounds, but yes, lose weight again, gain my strength back. But it's also a way to manage stress. And I say that to say, when you're under a lot of stress, especially when it's a situation of divorce, the fucking thing can really affect your fucking health. I've been divorced. And while it did not land me in ICU and I did not suffer potentially suffer a stroke or anything like that, I resorted to almost hurting myself. And I started taking pills because I hit a very rock bottom depression with my divorce. I became a single mom overnight. I was not facing the reality that this marriage was over. There was infidelity. There was so much dark times, and I allowed it, the stress and all that torture was, all that the mess affect my health so much and my stress levels that I ended up wanting to hurt myself, and I did not even think about my son. And sometimes you do end up in a dark space, or sometimes it just naturally affects your overall health where you do end up in ICU. And so I'm actually glad that you said about keeping the gym open because, and wearing your mask, because this pandemic is not over. And stress
No.
is never just going to just go away and never come back, right? There's always going to be things.
Oh, there's always going to be something.
Right. And in the case of Dr. Dre, I really wish him recovery. I really hope he gets better. I know he has his own history. I know that with women. I know that. I get it. But it just saddens me that the amount of stress he could possibly be under because of an event like divorce, to the point that he ends up in ICU. I just want to send out the message. Please, if you fucking need help, get help. Please take care of yourselves. Please balance out your healthy lifestyle to know that it is your overall body, including these stress levels. And we need a safe haven, a safe place where we could go release this stress too. Because at this point, we're trying to just fucking survive yet another fucking year.
We're just trying to survive a year and figure it out.
Exactly. And in light of what this episode is going to be called, it's pretty fucking savage at about this point. And we're just trying to fucking make it to the end. That's it. That's all we're trying to fucking do. And it starts with us. It starts with our bodies. It starts with our health. It starts with our mental. We just got to get it fucking together. And on that note, I'm done with my overdose. Y'all, this has been so interesting of an episode. Rick, thank you so much for coming on. It was a fun one. I told you I was going to make it a little bit fun. And a one-on-one on history. And present date events and timeless fucking issues.
And Dr. Dre, get better. Don't go on to the next episode. See what I did there?
I saw what you did there. That was very interesting. I heard that. Damn, now I hear him in my mind. All right.
That's right.
You guys already know I always link in my show description where you can find my guests. But Rick, let them know where they can find you, where they can follow you and support you.
You can follow me at Just Be Better Fitness on Instagram, or Rick the Finisher on Instagram. If you want to talk about some healthy options, physical, social, mental, email me at justbebetterfitness@gmail.com, and we will make sure we get you moving in the right direction so that your mind, body, and all your total well-being is on point, and managing your stress. Stay safe, guys. Stay out the Capitol.
With an O?
We ain't got we got no business there. Stay focused. Capital with an O. Capitol. Capital.
I will never let that go. That's the most entertaining thing I've ever seen.
Me either. Never, ever, ever.
All right.
Until we get it right.
Oh, this has been so entertaining. You guys, as you already know, thank you so much for tuning in. This has been yet another week and another episode on Double Dose of Raw Talk Podcast. I am your host, Miss D, and you guys will tune in next week. Bye. Make sure to follow us on Instagram and Twitter, and we are streaming on all platforms. Check us out on Apple and Spotify, and don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review. Now let's talk about it.